process. Well, this has been studied in comics as well, and so and it's being used actually in the medical field by hospitals and doctor training programs and all of that to incorporate this visual narrative, this combination of image and text to make a much more powerful and easily readable material for not only the doctors and nurses and everyone being trained on this to understand what it feels like to have this condition that they're helping to study, right? It's to build empathy and understanding, but also for the creator then to have that healing experience of visually and with words, like expressing what it feels like to have this condition, right? So this is a very simple definition, and there are debates about like how to define it, but it came from the coined term graphic medicine came from Ian Williams, and there's a whole website, graphicmedicine.org. You can have these slides at bit.ly what did I have it on there? I forget what I said. Library and Zines. You can get these slides if you want, and you can get all the information there. And at the end, I have a bibliography and some sources to check out, so you don't have to furiously write down everything if you want. But so Ian Williams really started this, and there's an excellent website that he keeps with a bunch of mostly volunteers, I think, that review works that come out, comics mostly that have this intersection of comics and the discourse of healthcare. Okay, so this could include, graphic memoirs. So I have some examples of those that have come out recently. Actually, this one I just got in Artist Alley yesterday. I haven't even read it yet. A Fox in My Brain, where I think she said, she's bipolar, and so her bipolar character is the fox, and so it's like, how can you have a metaphor for what you're experiencing in a way that will help people really resonate and understand. So this was just over in Artist Alley. There's a Fair Square is a new comics publisher I hadn't heard of before. I think they've only been around 5 years. So cool. And another one that just came out, Carabine, Here I Am Me, an illustrated guide to mental health. So there's a lot of these, this new sort of wave of comics coming out that are helping us to understand what it is to have mental or physical illness. This is Notes from a Sick Bed. This is another one that a woman who was that was laid up in bed with a chronic illness for years, and what that was like. So it can be that, but it can be, some people are doing comics for their dissertations now, so you can make it a really academic exercise. You might see long form pieces in, like the New Yorker or things like this that, people are really exploring this in different ways, right? It doesn't have to be a full graphic novel. And it's also expanding the idea of what illness or stories of health is expanding. Topics like racial injustice and climate change, the effects of climate change. These are things that now are kind of being included in what is our collective experience and what the toll those things are taking on our health and wellness. And it's also kind of decentering from just hospitals, but a community focus. How can we bring graphic medicine into spaces like this and allow people to use this medium as a way to find wellness? Why comics? They just capture the complexity of illness and health in a way that traditional medical texts can't. They can tell stories of hope and despair, humor and tragedy, and the everyday realities of living with illness. Learning about illness and treatment can be an effective coping and healing strategy for the author, and sharing that information with readers can transform a negative experience into a positive one. So those are a couple powerful quotes about what it can what it can do. Here are some examples you might recognize of some of the graphic novels that have been coming out that are addressing this, that kind of would fit in this graphic medicine genre. So dealing with all sorts of issues, right? And then, so what I've been exploring is what could zines be graphic medicine? So this is the first time I've done this. I'm glad there's so much interest. But I think zines are not necessarily always comics, but they are this combination of text and images, right? And they're any self-published small circulation magazine that documents the happenings of a subculture, right? And so what I love about them is there are no rules. So why can't they be graphic medicine? So let's make them that if we want to, right? So if you make it and you publish it and it has text, images, or both, it's a zine, right? And so I have some examples of that. I know some of you may not be familiar at all with zines. Some of you might be zinesters like Lisa Bishop here from SFUSD that gets all the kids in San Francisco unified to make zines regularly, so that's so cool. But a zine could be anything. This is Carolyn Yu, an artist that I just found on Substack. It says, "Love your inner artist" with the 5 love languages. And it's just this sweet little self-care zine with like, how can you love yourself with words of affirmation and touch and quality time, right? Just a cute little zine. And so I was thinking these can be ways that you can, in your own libraries, get kids to, or whoever you work with, your patrons, to think about these issues of health and wellness. Some examples of zines, if you're not familiar with them, these are some great places to find some exciting ones. There's a whole POC zine project where people of color can share and upload their zines that they've created. There's a queer zine archive. So if you want to see examples of zines from all kinds of folks, those are great places. The Brooklyn Museum actually just put on a recent show called Copy Machine Manifestos, just showing how artists have been creating zines for a very long time. So if you're new to the field, check those out. And then, so I've been exploring what could count as zines that are graphic medicine. NPR during the pandemic asked a bunch of people to create porn zines about what their experience was like during COVID, right? When we were all locked down, what was that like? How did it affect our health and well-being in our lives? And people brought those, they sent those in, and they put them out to everyone to see. So those are really cool to see. I have some links. Again, you can find these at bit.ly/zine librarian. Is that what I did? Or librarian zine? Okay, librarian zine. Thank you. And I'll post it on the app too. I'll link those slides later. So there's lots of examples out there already of people doing zines that could count as graphic medicine. So what I wanted to do is give you all an opportunity to make your own. I know you guys are very busy and you have a lot going on, so if you would like to, we can get space at the tables. We can even pull another table if we need to. But what we'll do is we'll just fold the 8-page zine. It's like a 1-pager like this. I'll show you how to do that. It's very easy. And then I have prompts provided where we could tell our stories of health and wellness in the library. I mean, we as librarians deal with all kinds of stuff. Like, we're carrying a lot of times. I felt like I feel like a social worker sometimes in the library, right? And so how do we take care of ourselves? How do we explore our own health and wellness and reflect on our experiences and use these as a lot of zines are advocacy? What do we need as librarians? What do we need people to understand that we're not just shelving books all day? That's not what we do, right? So I think making a little zine about this could be powerful, and sharing it to the world is like saying this is what we experience, and how can we advocate for better conditions for ourselves as well, and for our patrons. So yeah. Yes.
If anyone wants to make a zine and then have us copy it and put it out for free for folks, if you have something that you want to share, that's what we do at the Zine Pavilion. We make stuff and let it go fly out for free for other people to make their lives better. So if you would like to do that, that's something we can do too at the Zine Pavilion.
Okay. Okay, and there are table spaces around, so if you all want to stick around, we can do this. But yeah, that's a great idea. Does anyone have questions and/or other resources or programs that you put on that might apply to this idea?
It's not called a zine program, but in my library, we're kind of we're with the Las Vegas Park County, but we're still an outlying branch, so we're closer to Utah. But anyway, we have one called a junk journal program. It's not so much a junk journal though. People bring in all their scraps and like just cute little stationery things, and they make zines. And I didn't know they were zines, but they call them just journals. But they just fold up a piece of paper, and then they just put their favorite stickers and make a little story out of that. And I didn't know that's what they were doing. I didn't know that was.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so some people, a lot of librarians, I tabled yesterday. I have some of my zines that I've made in the program up here. Some librarians come by and like, what is a zine? Like, I've never heard of this before, and you might have been making them and not even know, right? It's a very kind of loose term, right? So yeah, don't feel like it has to be defined into any one thing. Does anyone else have examples?
Yeah, so at my library, our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, for our staff development day, we actually had a zine workshop for staff to participate in. So we just had a bunch of magazines out, really old-timey Russian comic strips we procured from Etsy, and we just gave them prompts, and we're just like, hey, create, we had prompts, I can't remember what they were, but they were EDI focused, and it was a lot of fun. I just discovered zines last year, and I'm excited to see a big zine presence here at ALA.
That's so awesome. That's a great idea. Like a staff wellness thing would be very cool. Is anyone else? Resources or ideas for programming? Yeah, there's a question. Okay, where would one find prompts? This is a good question. So you can absolutely create your own. Just make them up. What's cool about this is so easy. You just need a printer paper, right? And it's 8 pages. So if you just have 8 things, like I'll show you on my next page, I have 8 prompts for you, and you can take them or leave them, right? But you can have a prompt for each page. You can have one prompt for just the theme and let them fill up the pages however you want. I'll be talking on the panel at 2 o'clock. I had an excellent collaboration with a creative writing teacher at my high school where I worked this semester, and she had an event where her creative writing class invited all the students to come, and whoever wanted to show up came, and the students all created prompts for their peers. And so they had a page where they had how to fold a zine, and then 1 through 8, and the students themselves created the prompts for each other, which was really cool. They ranged from like your favorite things to I think one was your perfect date. Just all kinds of cute prompts like that. So but you could look online and look at any of these zine collections and get ideas, and then just come up with your own. Yeah. Do you have other ideas about prompts?
I love the idea of the students or the staff coming up with their own prompts, because that's like crowdsourcing. Like, you don't have to think of it all yourself, just crowdsource it. Like, that's the best thing. There's another great comic, wonderful graphic novel, and I can't remember the title, something about monsters.
My favorite thing is monsters.
Monsters.
Yes.
That is, after they were ill, they were sick in bed and in the hospital, and wrote and read this comic. And the second one just got published. So the second one is out. And then the other thing is that if you are a teacher librarian, start this with your students. Let them, and then have a place in your It's a no. Don't call it a zine if you're gonna grade it. Teachers stop grading kids on their creativity. So
Yes.
that's-
Amen. Yes. I love that. So yeah, doing it with the kids and letting them come up with it. So it's a great idea.
I work as a teen librarian in Salt Lake City, and the library there has had a really long-standing permanent zine collection. But in the teen area, we have a weekly teen zine team that meets, and that was kind of a program that was ongoing, and then I came into that not knowing anything about zines. But what was really cool is the kids there have like taught me so much about it, but they're really great at just like finding silly prompts, and we found that like a lot of oftentimes like using humor, like one day everyone drew bugs and then we named them, and that became the whole zine. And just I've been able to collaborate with other librarians around the country, and we have like a really strong digital version of all of our zines that I'm happy to like share, and then sometimes we have other people who have contributed, and then all of our teen zines are always free for everyone to read as well.
Yeah, I love that. So if you could email me the slides, I'll add them onto this so that everyone can access the link to your stuff. But yeah, that's a great idea. A weekly teen zine group. That is awesome. And the zine collection in the library, the kids love to see their work in the library as part of the collection. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
And they can also donate to the
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Any other ideas to share?
I have one more. If you're here today and you have some time, just do the one boxes and just read all the zines from the boxes. And that's mental health for yourself. Mental health for the rest of the conference. Just, put them back when you're done. And then enter the raffle so that you can get one for your library to get a zine collection. Because all those are donated for this particular period of time, and you can get it sent to them, and your library can have that. If they're not appropriate for your middle school or your elementary class, you just take them out and give it to the public library for your house.
Awesome. Yeah, this Lisa Bishop is. Are you running the whole Zine Pavilion? Oh, a collective of volunteers that help out with this at every ALA. It's been so cool to discover. So I'm going to show you the prompts. Does anyone else have any questions or anything to share? Okay, I'll show you the prompts that I came up with. Again, you do not have to do any of this. You can tell if you have a story bubbling up in you that you want to tell, or you want your own prompt, go for it. This is not prescriptive, but some places to start. Also, I feel like they're kind of long. I could make a whole book about what I prompted, so don't feel overwhelmed. Take and leave what you want. I meant to make physical copies of this, and I did not get a chance, but again, if you get the slides, they'll have the prompts with you, and I'll leave them up here so you can see them from afar. But so this is how to fold a zine, and we could walk through that together in a bit, but I'll show you the prompts first. So if you already know how to do that, you can just go ahead. But okay, so much, I know, sorry. But thinking of it as an 8-pager, page 1, thinking about a title, your name, and an image that would represent you or the topic inside. I said this librarian life. You could do, my wellness as a librarian. You could do, I am a librarian, and then whatever, any title on the front, right? Page 2, one of the really involved people in the graphic medicine, zine, and comics world is the comics nurse. I don't know if you've seen her, MK. Oh, I can't remember her last name. It's really long and Polish. But if you look up the comics nurse, you can see her. But anyway, she does this exercise called a body map in a lot of her stuff. And it's basically just drawing a very simple outline of you and labeling your insides and outsides, right? It's like thinking about, so I said, draw a basic outline of yourself and label what librarianship requires of you. So this is an exercise in reflecting on your insides and your outsides, what it takes. A curious mind, right? You could have a little label to your brain. I need a curious mind. and lots of coffee and have a coffee mug in your hand, right? I'm just thinking about like what does it take physically, mentally to be a librarian, and doing a little body map of that. Page 3, some of the times I feel a sense of well-being as a librarian are, and just kind of reflecting on what makes you feel good. Like what makes you, when do you feel your best as a librarian, mentally, physically, like when are you in the zone, right? Page 4, some of the toughest things about being a librarian. I don't think people know like a lot about what we actually do, right? I think people in your school, the public that comes in at your public library, right, that our admin, like they don't know what we do every day. What are the hard parts? What are the parts that sock you in the gut in the morning when you see these sometimes hungry kids coming into your library, or like, you know, like there are things that just like take a toll when you see that over and over, right? Stuff, public libraries, they are social workers right now, right? Dealing with a lot of stuff. So, what are the tough parts? What take toll? And then reflecting on how do you take care of yourself? I take care of myself by, and then just drawing or collaging or whatever, like little self-care, like what are the practices that I have that keep me going? And then I'm setting an intention to take better care of myself by, like, so what could I do to do better at that, right? To really, what do I need? Being grateful is an important practice of gratitude is just a really important part of self-care. So thanking yourself, your mind, your body for stepping up as a librarian. And then lastly on the back, what would you like to tell others about what you need as a librarian? What would you want others to know? Okay, so again, that's a lot of stuff. You don't have to do that on every page, but it would be so cool to have a shared like collection of like if we all shared these with each other and just got to see what each other's experiences, how we take care of ourselves, and how we manage as librarians. So if you would like, you can tag me at Read Free, Draw Free on Instagram, take pictures of the pages that you like, and we can share this together. So I'll show you what we have up here. I have all the like knowledge quests in American librarians.